Hello, and welcome to the Under Budget Outdoors podcast, a podcast for new, intermediate, and seasoned hunters across the world. A podcast about experience, gear, knowledge, and more. Whether you hunt with a bow, crossbow, rifle, or shotgun, you can hunt properly and efficiently while being under budget. Just remember, it doesn't take big bucks to kill big bucks. Let's get right into it.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome back. Under Budget Outdoors podcast. Today we're going over New Jersey laws and regulations regarding hunting. Now, just as a disclaimer, don't try to bring this up in a court of law. You're probably going to lose. All right, so just look up your own state and make sure you understand it. If you don't understand it, call, New Jersey State and Wildlife Game Warden. All right. Brock and PJ are with us. I'm down here in North Carolina right now for some work training. And yeah, thanks for coming in.
I just want to quickly apologize. We were all pretty busy last week, and then this video's coming out a couple days late because we were all at a funeral this weekend, so that kind of put everything behind as well. So we're trying not to be inconsistent. We knocked out the first 3 episodes right in a row, which is great, and we're going to continue right on that path again. So I just want to apologize for that, but
yeah, unfortunately, life gets in the way sometimes.
True that. So, Brock, if you want to start it off,
yeah, Brock, you're kind of the go-to guy for all this. Me and PJ are just here for our good looks,
moral support.
Well, in that case, I guess I'll black your guys' screens out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, basically, what we really wanted to do with this one is just kind of give you like an understanding on how to kind of interpret and make sure that you know like the different terminology and stuff like that when you're trying to interpret this stuff. The biggest thing that I can really start off with is on the terminology side of it. There's a couple different things that you need to look at. Like the initial thing is just getting your license in general, having a general shotgun license, actually most states would probably be called a firearms license. That's basically just your ticket to go out in the woods. That's really all that means. On top of that, you're going to have your tags. Now, the tags are what the animal is that you're actually going for. So you'll have a doe tag, a buck tag, a turkey tag, whatever it is that you're going to be hunting. And then on top of that, you have stamps, which we have talked about before. So in New Jersey specifically, every year you can purchase a pheasant stamp. That pheasant stamp is about $40, and that stamp allows you to go to state game lands that are stocked by the state with pheasant. Without that stamp, you can't do it. Every time that we went up there, we always had game wardens stopping by. They're checking to make sure you have your stamps and all that. If you get caught without it, you're going to get jammed up. So make sure that you know.
Yeah, only if you're actually hunting for pheasant. You can still small game hunt while the pheasant season's going on. But if you are shooting at a pheasant or you have a pheasant in your possession and you don't have that stamp, that's where the problem is going to go.
Yeah, like let's say, me and PJ go out pheasant hunting. I'm going out for squirrel. He's going out for pheasant. I don't have the stamp, but I have the vest that can hold the pheasant in the back. I need that pheasant stamp for me to
have it in your possession.
You really got to be careful on what you're doing, and you really got to pay attention to know what kind of animal you're going for, so that way you know what kind of tags. And you also have to look, so New Jersey specifically, and we're going to talk a lot of this based on New Jersey just because that's what I'm used to, that's what they're used to as well. But there's, obviously your own state is going to have their own regulations that you have to look at. But in New Jersey, there's 7 different seasons for just deer. So you have to make sure that you're paying attention to what season you're in, what the dates are for each season, and what permits or tags or anything of that sort is required for each specific season. So that way you know what you're doing it legally, and you're not going to get yourself jammed up should you harvest anything or do anything.
Yeah, so I don't know about New Jersey. I'm sure New Jersey has this, but Pennsylvania, what is it? I'm going to check my phone. Pennsylvania Wildlife Game Commission or Pennsylvania Game Commission has its own app. and you can
Yeah.
upload your specific, license, and it'll tell you, all right, hey, you have this license, you have, September 1st to September 26th to go for the, this specific animal. And, what I do is I don't always trust apps, it's, people mess up, wrong programs, all that. So I check that. I go on, if I'm in Jersey, I go on Jersey wildlife page. I'm like, all right, just to confirm,
Yep.
from September 1st to the 26th, I can take my bazooka and I can go for deer. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is.
It's coming right for us.
Yeah, that's and that's really what you have to do. So that's like even last year, like we've brought up a couple of times of us going to Georgia. That was the first thing I did was I downloaded their app because it's up to me as the person going to do the hunting
Absolutely.
to know Georgia's laws and regulations because it's not New Jersey anymore. I have to go off of what they're doing.
Yep.
Right.
So, and with what we're doing, even when we go next year, the outfitter, the lodge, whatever, if you're doing something like that, they should be able to help you out with that kind of stuff, but don't rely on them to do it. You should really be doing the research yourself and knowing where you're going, what you have to do, what's required of you. So that way you don't get yourself into a pickle while you're down there and then you
Right.
get screwed. And then especially if you're doing public land, like a lot of people go to different states to do public land, that's up to you to know where those public lands are, what the what the lines are, so you're not walking off onto someone's private property somewhere.
Right.
And another thing to really think about, like if you're getting into something like that, there's a lot of states that you really have to go more towards like a preference point or a bonus point to even apply for a tag. You can't just go to that state, buy that tag over counter and just go hunting. There's some states that, especially with non-resident, you have to apply for that tag every year for the draw for the lottery, and you have to purchase preference points. And a lot of I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Utah, don't quote me on this, like Nate said, we're not legal advice, but I believe Utah is one of the states that if you want to go for mule deer, on average, you can look at this stuff every year when they do the draw, but I think on average, when you get drawn for the tag, it's about 10 or 11 preference points on it. So, like, let's say 2024, I'm not going to plan on going to Utah, but I'm going to plan on going like 2026. This year, I can purchase preference points for that state. Next year, 2025, I can purchase more preference points. So that way, come 2026, when I do apply for the tag, each point is essentially another chance for you to get a tag in that lottery.
Gotcha.
So I can just stack up those points while I can. And then when I do plan on going, okay, here you go. Now I have 15 preference points or whatever, and it gives myself a better chance of getting that tag that year.
Gotcha.
And then there's some states, I believe, I was actually just reading something today. I think it was New Mexico. They don't have like the preference points or anything, but they have what they call outfitter tags. Certain states will designate a certain amount of tags to go just strictly for outfitters. And if you're applying for that outfitter, you have to already be signed up and ready to go with that outfitter to even apply for that tag. And then if you get it, you're required to go with that outfitter. You can't just, I got my tag. I found another place that's $1,000 cheaper. I want to go with them.
Right.
You have to go with that outfitter that you signed up for and that you did it with. So you really have to look at this kind of stuff and understand what it is that you're going for and what it is that you need to do and what's required of you to get that tag or that permit, so that way you don't get yourself in trouble and jammed up with anything.
Right.
Now speaking with
here, excuse me.
Now, like we said, a lot of this that we're going to talk about today is pretty much based off of Jersey because that's what I'm used to the most, and that's what these guys started out with and they're used to the most. But in New Jersey, they have the state broken up into regulation sets. So when you look at the digest, you can get a hard copy at the local sporting goods store or whatever, or look at it online. They have their state broken up and it's all in different colors. So you have to look at where you're going to be hunting, look at what regulation set you are, so that way you know what regulations you have to follow in that area. If you're hunting multiple different spots, if you're on public land, or if you have multiple private areas that you can go to, and they're in different zones and they have different regulation sets, you have to know which property you're going to and which regulation set you have to follow. So, like I was saying with Jersey, they have 7 different seasons that you can hunt just for deer alone. Half of the state opens up what they call early archery. It's usually the Saturday after Labor Day, I think, or like 2 weeks after Labor Day, something like that. I think this year it opens up on the September 14th. Those first couple of weeks, it's only half the state that is allowed to hunt. During that early season, what they call it, you have to harvest a doe first. It's called earn a buck season.
Yeah, it's September 9th through the 29th. Or that was 2023. But September 9th through the 29th must take one antlerless deer first before pursuing an antlered buck.
Yeah, and that's basically, so the areas that have the early season like that, that is basically the state's way of trying to combat 2 things. One, the areas that have the higher deer population. So they're forcing you to do a doe before you go for a buck. And also they look at the car accidents throughout the that year as well. If there's an area that has a higher risk of a deer running into a car or car running into a deer or whatever, they're going to have that area, or at least look at that area into getting added to the earn a buck season. And then come the middle or the end of September, that's when fall bow opens, and that's the entire state. But even there, you have to look at, like I was saying, your regulation set and what zone you're in.
Right.
So that way you know what you can do. Like my zone that I hunt, and I only hunt in one zone right now. My zone, I can shoot unlimited doe. It doesn't matter the limit. I have no limit on the does that I can kill pretty much all year long.
Yeah. So
zones.
I just pulled up that exactly what you're talking about. So it says regulation set 7 and 8, zones 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 36, 41, 49, 50, 51. Can do the earn a buck season with unlimited antlerless and one antlered. You can do 2 deer may be taken at a time for your bag limit. And then regulation set 6, which is zone 5, 19, 25, 42, 48, earn a buck, but you can take 9 antlerless and 1 antlered and 2 deer at a time. So that's exactly what Brock's talking about.
Yeah. So like when you look at what he has pulled up right now, the different colors, when you look at the map of the actual state, you line that up with the area that you're hunting in, what zone you're in, and then you have to go to that page, look at the regulation set and what your regulations are and what you're allowed to do, what you're able to do. And this one is the one for last year, but it'll tell you when the dates are, like which start, close for each one. Now New Jersey, in my opinion, is honestly one of the most difficult states to follow when it comes to this kind of stuff. Especially for somebody new, it can be really overwhelming looking at this and trying to understand and interpret what it is that you're looking at. They just put a survey out. Actually, I think it's going on right now. I think it still has like another week to go. They're trying to dumb this down a little bit and make it a lot simpler, which I really hope that they do, because even me hunting over 20 years, I still get confused sometimes looking at it.
Yep.
So if you're new to it, if you're just getting into it, you get yourself overwhelmed. Like Nate said before, reach out to the game warden, reach out to somebody that that hunts, reach out to the agency themselves, whatever, and just figure out, because it's like I said, it's up to you to know what you're doing and where you're hunting, because it's going to be on you. This isn't something that you can really just play ignorance on and be like, oh, I thought this is what I can do. Everything's laid out. It's up to you to interpret it. So if you have issues with it, reach out to somebody that's going to be able to help you.
I mean, yeah, what I've done in the past, Brock, when we were trying to go coyote hunting, I wanted to make sure that my my rifle was in terms with Jersey. So I straight up emailed, I forget who I emailed, someone in the state. I'm like, hey, I have this Pennsylvania, 5.56 rifle. Can I take it to New Jersey? They're like, absolutely not. Like if you take it to Jersey, these are the criterias that you have to meet. Like just like the magazine, the buttstock, the muzzle flash, all that. Barrel. It's a ton, right? It'd be cheaper for me just to buy a rifle in New Jersey to hunt in
Right.
New Jersey.
Yeah, I
But
mean, you during the specific coyote season, you can shoot during the day with the 5.56, but it has to be a New Jersey legal firearm.
right,
Just because you have it and you live in Pennsylvania, you can't just bring it across because it's New Jersey and it's the worst state to live in. But unfortunately, this is where I'm at, so it is what it is. But and even there, so when it comes to coyotes, if you're hunting at any time, you can legally shoot a coyote with whatever it is that you're legally hunting with. So if you're out in archery season, a coyote walks in, you can shoot that coyote with the bow. If you're out during shotgun season, a coyote comes through, you can shoot it. January 1st to March 15th is the special coyote/fox permit season, specifically for just that. There's also a couple of shotgun days and winter bow going on at that time as well. But with the special permit, you can hunt 24/7 except for Sunday. You can't hunt. I think it's Sunday morning, or yeah, Sunday morning at midnight to Sunday night at midnight. Like that whole day, you can't hunt. But the rest of the week, you can hunt day, night. It doesn't matter. During the day, you can shoot with a rifle or a bow. Once that sun sets, you have to shoot with a shotgun. So you have to really look at it and be careful on what it is and what time you're going to what you're allowed to do. When I first started getting into the predator hunts, it took me a while to understand and really understand what it was that I had that I was able to hunt with, to really be able to tell what kind of days I can go out, what time I wanted to go out. There was the one time it was easier for me to go out at 7 o'clock in the morning. A lot of the times, the coyotes really, in my area at least, aren't really out during the day. They are, but they're more predominantly out at night. I found in my area, they seem to be most active probably like the first 45 minutes to an hour after the sun goes down, and then the last hour before the sun comes up. So going out there at midnight really for me is kind of worthless because they're not really that active. But I was just being me, trying to go out with my bow, realized, hey, I can't do this at night, trying to be legal, trying to be ethical and all that. It was hard for me to get into it during the day. Then I just decided to go, okay, we're going to go out with the AR or whatever. Being Jersey compliant, it sucks, but I'm still able to do it. We found a couple spots where they're kind of active during the day and they're starting to run around. So we were able to harvest one this year at least. I wish, we, like I said before, we have probably 90,000 of up there that I want to get rid of all of them, but unfortunately I haven't really seen many during deer season to take out. So we're going to try to next year, I think, go out and get some more of them.
Yeah, it says the coyote and fox permit is valid from January 2nd to March 15th. It's $2 for anybody over the age of 10. Permit required when using certain firearms and ammo or to hunt these species at night. Not available for purchase until mid-December. And you can order them online or at a licensing agent.
And then also, if you read a little bit further into the coyote and fox special permit season, when you're out hunting coyotes, you're required to have a call with you.
oh,
So
okay.
you can't just go out there and just plop down in the woods somewhere and wait. You have to have a call on you. So I mean, you're probably going to have a call on you regardless. It would make sense to, so that way you can draw the coyotes into you to get a good shot on them. But things like that. You have to be looking at that kind of stuff. So when it comes to Jersey, like I was saying, 7 different seasons. We have early season for part of the state, fall bow, permit bow, winter bow, which is January 1st to I think sometime in February. Like this year, I think it ended like February 15th or something like that. And then you have 2 separate seasons for shotgun. You have the 6-day firearm in December, which we typically refer to as Buck Week. And then they have the permit shotgun, which goes a little bit in the end of December and a little bit into January and February. There's, again, certain days that you can do it, certain times and everything. So you have to be looking at that kind of stuff. But essentially what that really means is you have 7 buck tags a year in New Jersey. To me, that's a little ridiculous. I don't really think, I mean, so in this survey that I took last week or the week before, whatever it was, they said that on average, the most that any really successful hunter is getting in Jersey every year is like $2 to $3 a year.
I'm not
But
getting nothing, dude.
But, but you do have the opportunity to go for $7. There's some states that are a $1 state or a $2 state, like Georgia. That's $2.
That's it.
And that was, and if I read everything correctly, when I was looking at Georgia's stuff last summer before we went down there, it's $2 all year. If you shoot $2 in archery, well, I guess you're not shooting a buck during rifle season now.
Right.
If you shoot $2 with the rifle, I guess you're not shooting one with a bow. So you have to, and I personally think that that's better just for the population and to let the deer grow up a little bit and get more bucks around. I highly doubt that someone's going out in Jersey and shooting $7 every year.
If they are, more power to them, but goddamn.
Yeah. I mean, if you're able to do it, go for it. And then even there, when it switches out of the early season into fall bow at the end of September, you no longer have that earn a buck. You can just go out there and shoot a buck and that's it.
Right.
And so the early season in half the state is the only time that you have the earn a buck for it. Now I did find out, I had no idea because I don't hunt in that zone, but there are actually zones in New Jersey that have an APR. So the APR is antler point restriction. You have to really be careful on that kind of stuff because there again, like I just said, I've been hunting in Jersey for 23 years. I had no idea that New Jersey had that. It's only for
Pennsylvania then.
Right.
But in Pennsylvania, it's statewide, right? It's not like
limited
to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's statewide. I know where I hunt, it's the 3-up rule.
Yeah, you have to have 3 on one side minimum.
Yeah, so you have to shoot basically a minimum 5-pointer, right? Is what you can go for.
Well, I mean, you could have a spike on one side or nothing on one side as long as one has 3.
Yeah,
right.
Which, if I'm shooting a buck at 80 yards and I got the shakes, because it's my first buck.
Well, for you, first buck, but
yeah, I think that can be kind of hard to use good judgment if you're at 80 yards, 100 yards with a freaking rifle, because what I've been thinking about is if I'm in the woods and there's a buck there, is that a twig next to the buck's head? Is that a freaking antler? You know what I'm saying? So I'm still trying to learn that. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole 3-up rule, good. It comes down to whole, the firearms safety.
Now, with Pennsylvania having the APR, is there a length restriction on what they count as a point?
Yes, I read it. I don't know off the top of my head. Their production manager, TJ, if you want to pull that up on your 18 monitors there, bud.
Listen, it's only 4 monitors, and I've been trying to do that while y'all have been chit-chatting away.
Yeah, because even there, I haven't looked into it for the 2 or 3 zones that it is in New Jersey. But most states that do have an APR do have a length restriction. So if a 5-point walks in, but that, let's say that brow tine is only half an inch, it's considered a 4-point because it doesn't meet the minimum requirement for that APR. So even there, you have to look at what your state requires for that. So that way, again, like you said, if that deer is, if it's rifle season, it's 100 yards away, maybe you should be just, don't take that shot. Let that deer walk a little bit, either get in closer so you can tell for sure, or
Right.
just don't take the shot at all and let that deer go, and hopefully it comes back next year. I mean, and me personally, I kind of like the APR because it's allowing the deer to get older and to make nicer racks.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
I've shot spikes. I've shot, little 4 points or 6 points, whatever. I'm not going to say that I haven't done it because, it was legal and it was me, it was there. I have the last couple of years started to change my ways in becoming more like, even though I don't hunt in an area that has an APR, kind of making that decision myself of not shooting something that small, to let them grow up a little bit, just to get those nicer racks on them. Like I know in Georgia, where we were hunting in like kind of the southeast area, the outfitter had an APR restriction just for management purposes, which understandable for the outfitter. But where we actually were state-wise, they did not have an APR, but there's a certain county in Georgia that has an APR. So you have to know if you live there or if you're going down there to visit as a non-resident, if you're doing public land, or if you have someone that you can hunt private land, you have to know, hey, is my county within this APR or whatever? You have to look at that kind of stuff, and you should be able to find all this stuff, whatever state you're going to, look up their, they should all, look up their state website. They should all have some kind of a digest or something for you to look at. Some of them you might be able to get it sent to your house or printed out,
Right.
and just look it over. Just know where you're going. Know in certain areas, like in Jersey, is based off of regulation sets and zones. In another state, it might be based off of county, or it might be based off of something completely different.
So I just pulled it up and I have a paragraph to read here, so bear with me. In 2002, the Pennsylvania Game Commission changed the antler restriction to harvest an antlered deer. Prior to 2002, the antler restriction was 2 points to an antler or a spike of at least 3 inches in length. From 2002 to 2010, the antler point restriction, APR, were 3 or 4 points to an antler, depending on the area of the state. Started in 2011, the 4-point area changed to 3 points to an antler. So 3 on one side, not including the brow tine. Okay. That's pretty important.
Okay.
So
Yes,
if you see 2 with a little one, that still doesn't count. You need 3. 3 points to an antler area did not change. Since APRs began a swirling of myth and reality, since APRs began, a swirling of myth and reality has followed, and then it goes into a much more of a breakdown about ages and stuff like that. So the last update, it seems, is, again, you need 3, not including the little brow tine.
Yeah,
Okay.
so just be careful,
And antler restrictions vary. There areas 1 Bravo, 1 Alpha, 2 Alpha, 2 Bravo, 2 Delta, which are the 5 areas on the very west side of Pennsylvania, have a 4-point area restriction, and everything east of that is a 3-point restriction.
So that 4-point restriction, is that 4 points not including brow tine?
That's what I am believing.
Okay.
So,
I mean,
again,
that's
right?
good that he has some nice bucks out there that way.
Yeah, it's right by Ohio, and everybody talks about Ohio having good bucks. So
yeah, so
There you go.
TJ just took it off the Pennsylvania.
that was right off their website. Yep, pgc.pa.gov.
Yeah, even still, we're like, so what does that mean exactly, right? So just be careful, right? Call a game warden, go on Facebook, New Jersey hunting, PA hunting, whatever it is, just to cover your ass. Because if you get hemmed up, I know they can take your license, for a period of time, or depending on how bad you mess up, for the rest of your life. So don't let one small mistake, dictate how you hunt for the rest of your life, more or less.
Man, like I said, if you're out there in the woods and you're unsure or you're uneasy, whatever the case, don't take the shot. I mean, you should know all this stuff and be comfortable with your knowledge that you have on it before you go out there. But if that deer is 100 yards away and you're not sure if it's legal or not, don't take the shot. Don't put yourself in a situation where you could get jammed up. Because, I mean, something like that, you can have your license revoked, suspended. You can have your firearm taken away from you or your bow, whatever you have with you at that time. It can be a list of issues that you have going on with it.
And since we're on the topic of regulations also still count for baiting or putting down food, right? So
Yep.
I want to say, now granted, I'm still new at this. Like Pennsylvania or Jersey, get that have like 90 days before the season to get all the food.
Yeah, I think I was told 60 days in Pennsylvania is when you cannot bait that area anymore. And if there is still like a food plot or anything, you have to be 100 yards away. Like your tree stand has to be 100 yards away from that baiting area.
Yeah, I know in Jersey, for deer you can bait, and I don't know if that is certain areas or not. Again, my knowledge is mainly in the area that I hunt in. I do know when they brought the bear hunt back, you can't hunt over bait. You have to be, I think it's 300 yards from bait. You can't. Well, I know for a fact that in Georgia, because we were talking to Kevin about this, the owner of the place down there, they can bait for turkey up to 30 days before the season starts. So when we go down there next year and we're hunting deer and hog, a lot of their stands are set over corn feeders or whatever, just to try to keep everything coming in for the hunters to be successful. If you go down there this time of year and you're hunting turkey, you're not going to be in that same area, or they have to shut those feeders off 30 days before the season opens. So that way, it's giving the turkeys more of a fair chance or whatever. Alabama, for their turkey season is 45 days. It's one of the longest ones, I think, in the country. The first 10 days of that season, you can't hunt with a decoy.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's
Okay.
again giving more of a fair chase to the turkey. On the 11th day and on, then you can hunt with decoys.
Oh, by the way, the other day in Harrisburg, I seen a turkey strutting on the side of the road. Thought it was a decoy at first, but it wasn't a decoy. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, they definitely look pretty cool when they're strutting out, and I can't wait to finally see one in a couple weeks here. But again, if you were to decide, say you're going for a Grand Slam, you want to shoot the turkey Grand Slam, which maybe one of these years I'll go after it. Each state you're going to, you have to know stuff like that. Can I hunt with a decoy? Is the state that I'm going to, or is it legal to reap? Which reaping is, you see videos online of the guys holding up like a turkey fan in front of their face, doing like that army crawl, and they're getting within 5 feet of the turkeys.
Yeah.
A lot of states that's not legal to do.
Oh, okay.
In some states it is legal. I think there's only like 5 states, something like that, left that it's legal to do. I personally am kind of on the fence on how I feel about that. But hey, if you're able to do it and it's legal for you to do it and that's how you choose to hunt, go for it. That's up to you.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was just.
It's pretty cool.
For clicks and likes, guys crawling up there with all the feathers and the barrel sticking out and just blasting that turkey.
I've seen a video where a dude was holding like a 2 foot by 2 foot mirror like slowly army crawling out, so the turkey was seeing itself and getting all pissed off at itself. It was interesting, but going back to it, the Turkey Grand Slam. That's what the Osceola, the Merriam,
Rio, and
the Rio, and the Eastern, right?
Yeah, and then the Royal Grand Slam is, I forget what the name of the other turkey is. I'm still new to turkey. I'm not 100%. I know the Grand Slam is the 4 though.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some guys out there. I actually just saw where I'm going turkey hunting in 2 weeks. They had one last year. He shot a turkey in Jersey, and then it was like a week later or 2 weeks later, he shot one in Pennsylvania and completed all 48 states.
That's insane.
I mean, like, and actually, I just saw one just this week. There was a guy down south. He completed what they think is the record time for the Grand Slam. He shot all 4 turkeys to get the Grand Slam in 32 hours. That is absolutely crazy. Florida, Georgia, and then he went out to New Mexico and Oklahoma. Within 32 hours, he had the Grand Slam complete.
That's insane.
Right? I mean,
that's crazy,
if you're able to line that up and follow the laws and the regulations and know it for each state you're going to and all that kind of stuff, I mean, go for it. That's awesome.
I don't even know if I've ever even seen an Osceola turkey.
He was probably on that Florida-Georgia line, facing one way for Florida, Georgia,
Well, so the Osceolas is to the best of my knowledge,
beautiful.
They're only in Florida and only certain parts of Florida.
Yep. Osceolas are native to the Florida Peninsula. And I mean, that is a beautiful looking bird, like the sheen
Absolutely.
of it. I'll throw it up on the screen quick.
I honestly,
that's a beautiful looking turkey.
I would love to go for a Rio because I love the color on
my boss just went and got one.
I think the tail feathers on those just look beautiful. I mean, the Osceolas look beautiful as well. But
yeah, my boss just went and got a Rio, and I think he said his dad or his uncle hit the Grand Slam when he got his Rio.
Yeah, I mean, there's one guy on Treason. He's the field staff director, Joe Willis. He's gotten the Grand Slam like a dozen times, if not more.
Oh, that sounds
like this dude. This dude is a turkey hunter. He has shot more turkeys than I can ever think of. And I've heard stories about when you go down to his house, you go in and it's just turkeys everywhere on the wall. There's fans, there's full body mounts. He's got something like 20 or 30 full body mounts in his house for just turkey. Like, it's ridiculous.
Dude, when I go out into the woods, I'm excited if I see a squirrel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine shooting turkeys, getting this, Grand Slam a dozen times. Like that blows.
I mean, some people have the ability to do it.
Yeah.
I'm at the point right now where I'm gonna put my car in the woods because that's the only time I see deer. And see if they jump out in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting desperate here.
Yeah, I mean, even there, this is kind of getting off topic, but the president of Treason, Mike Austin, he just completed the Spiral Slam, which is over in Africa.
Yeah.
It's like the Impala, Kudu, I think Gemsbach. I forget what the other ones were.
I think it's Gemsbach. I think it's like
Gemsbach.
Gemsbach, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you have the ability to do it, that's great. Go for it. Because my father-in-law lives out in Arizona. He lives just outside of Phoenix, and I was thinking about trying to go out there for a mule deer hunt public land. And I believe Arizona is one of the states where you have to do the preference points and the draw for the tags and all that kind of stuff. And even there, Arizona, New Mexico, and I think Colorado, when you get deer tags, so you can shoot a whitetail or a mule deer. It's
Okay.
not like
Uh,
species specific. And then I think, again, don't quote me on any of this, but I think Texas is the same way with the Coos buck because that's another, I guess you can say, subspecies of a deer. They have those down south and they're in Mexico a lot as well, and they kind of look a lot like a white-tailed deer, but there are some like characteristics that are a little bit different to tell them apart. Like the Coos buck is kind of more like a grayish color, to where the white-tailed deer is more of like that tan or dark brown. But there's, even there, if you're going out somewhere as a non-resident applying for different tags, or if you go to a state that you could do over counter tags, you got to pay attention to what tag it is that you're getting, so you know what you can go for. If you're going for a mule deer and you're out there for a week and comes down to the last day and it's like, hey, I got a whitetail buck in front of me, my tag says I can shoot one, there you go, harvest the animal, don't make it a wasted trip.
Right.
right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just going back to regulations, like regulations, obviously they cover everything for specific reasons, but also clothing, the type of clothing that you need to wear for different seasons and all
Yeah.
that.
Whether you need to have hunter orange, blaze orange,
Right,
whatever
like
you want to call it.
the
Yeah.
ammo capacity, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure you check all those boxes before rolling out. You're in the woods, game warrant comes by, he's like, hey, let me see your gun, and you have one too many, shells or bullets, whatever it is.
Yeah, I got stopped with your dad. I was up in a tree stand. He walked all the way out there and asked me to lower down all of my ammo to make sure that I had the correct ammo.
Yeah, and there's drones out there too, right? So like the game warden doesn't even need to be walking around the woods like they did back in the day. He sits on the road. You got night vision, thermal imaging, and all that, and he can walk directly to you. And before you even know it, you get hemmed up because you're in Jersey and you're trying to shoot a slug, and you got buckshot. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get one over, and your ass is grass.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So the times that myself and PJ went out to the state land for pheasant,
oh my god, yeah,
I would say every single time that we were there,
just about every single time,
there was a game warden there, and they're checking your ammo. They're checking. In Jersey, you have to have your shotgun plugged to where you can only hold 3 shells, 1 in the chamber and 2 in the tube.
Yep. Yeah, they would check it every time.
They're gonna check for that. They're gonna check your ammo to make sure that it's the right weight or type of shot that you're going for pheasant.
We were running into the same game warden so much where he was like, "Oh, looks like the same gun. You're good." Like he knew because he had plugged it 3 or 4 times. And
as long as you're doing everything right and you're good on what you're doing, when it comes to running into a game warden like that, and you get that
you build that rapport
kind of like
with them.
You kind of get like that relationship going with them. It's going to make things a lot easier. So that way it doesn't like the first time that we dealt with that, the first year that we did it, I was like, oh shit, we got a game warden. We knew that we were doing everything right. We knew that we were doing everything legal, but you still have that like, oh my God, like what's going to happen to us now? Like, what are we doing? Did I remember to get my stamp? Do I have the right ammo with me? Did I bring the wrong shotgun that doesn't have the plug in it? Or like that one day I actually found that I didn't have my plug in it. So I broke off a stick on a branch and shoved it in the tube real quick. So that way the tube wouldn't hold anything more than 2.
Right.
So I was still legal because I grabbed the wrong shotgun that morning, and I realized, had he been there that morning in the parking lot, I would have been screwed.
Yep.
Right. When PJ and I went out, we used a chopstick.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a specific plug for your gun. It
just has to work
in there. So you cannot have more than 2 shells in the
in the lower part of it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. The tube, I guess.
Yeah, the tube, magazine, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but, one in the chamber, 2 in the lower, and that's it.
And even there, like when you're looking at New Jersey specifically, like New Jersey is a shotgun state. It's not a rifle state. When you look at the regulations, it has to be 20 gauge to 10 gauge. You can't have anything smaller or larger than that. It has to be within that.
Oh, you
So
could
you're
use
gonna
a
have to look
4.
at
Isn't a 410 in there somewhere?
not for deer.
Oh, maybe not for deer. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
not
you can
yeah,
use
yeah.
a
Well,
410 in Jersey though.
for deer season, I
Okay,
should say.
I
It has to
gotcha.
be between a 10 and a 20. But like Nate was saying, with wearing the hunter's orange, pretty much every state, if it's a firearm season, they're going to require hunter's orange. Now, in New Jersey, if you are hunting during the 6-day firearm with a bow, then you have to wear hunter's orange, even though bow hunting doesn't require it during that week. If you're out with a bow, you still have to wear hunter's orange, and you also have to be in possession of a firearms license. So if you only have an archery license that week, you can't go out and hunt with your bow
Interesting.
Oh,
during this now the rest of the permit shotgun later on in the season or in the year, you don't have to wear orange and you don't have to have a shotgun license. But during that 6-day firearm, like that week specifically, you still have to abide by the 6-day firearm and the shotgun license regulations and all that to be able to still go out and hunt.
So yeah, lots.
Yeah, a lot to dig in, but wrapping it up. I mean, like these guys were saying before, make sure you call whatever state it is. If you have any questions, you can reach out on social media. Me personally, I'd rather go right to the source, like Nate did. He emailed the state, got direct answer. That way, you don't get anything lost in translation with non-state officials, we'll say.
Well, and even there,
But,
if you do that, you get any kind of correspondence like that, take a screenshot and have it on your phone. So that way, God forbid something does happen or a game warden stops you or whatever, you can just be like, hey, this is straight from the agency. This is what I was told. This is what I'm going with.
Get it in
So
right
you
now.
have a leg to stand on should you find yourself in a difficult situation like that.
no.
But again, just to wrap it up, this proof of writing, this podcast is not will not hold up in a court of law. So don't show the game warden this. You're gonna get smacked.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
But just one last thing. So every year things change, right? So yes, you can rely. Me personally, I rely a lot on Brock, but Brock does not have all the answers for the small changes that New Jersey, Pennsylvania, whatever state you're in, Montana, they make changes every year. So before you go out, read up on it. If you have questions, call, email, go down to the game commission office and, get it in writing. So if anything messes up, you can cover your ass.
Absolutely. But all right, well that's. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I know for Jersey, I'm sure it is for other states as well. You can subscribe to an email list from the agency or whatever. Yeah. So any kind of updates that come out throughout the year, you can keep up the track on that. Because like I said, like they just did a survey for hunters in New Jersey, and they're in the process of discussing and talking about changing some of the regulations and stuff like that. So I know now pretty much, I would say the survey is going to end, I believe, May 1st, something like that. So come July, August, I need to be on that website at minimum on a weekly basis, just checking to see if any changes are coming or if anything is going to be happening. So that way I know come September when it's hunting time, I'm good and I know what I'm doing and I'm staying legal.
But for sure.
All right.
But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. We got work tomorrow. I got class tomorrow and all that. But we should be streaming again on Friday, correct?
Recording on Friday.
Yeah, recording, streaming.
We haven't gotten to streaming yet.
But yeah, just again, like, subscribe, share, follow, tweet, pin,
whatever it may be. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And who wants to say it?
It doesn't take big bucks to kill big bucks.
Ew.
That's right. All right, y'all. Take care. We'll catch you next time.